Anyway, let's check out the Witch Hat video. I was curious about this one. Witch Hat Atelier is all about hands. We've seen like a couple of this guy's videos. Saw one of them yesterday. Watch this, and then we'll go from there. I really did enjoy Witch Hat. Witch Hat was very, very fun. I know people wanted to make some like weird drama about it on Twitter. I don't even know why. Like, people wanted to treat it as like this government psyop. I don't fucking know. Twitter people were having a fun time with this one, is what I'll say.
What can hands tell us about a person? I'm catching up on Witch Hat Atelier, and there are so many great details worthy of pointing out, from the world building to the technical...
Okay, that one worked. Right, okay, as it should.
What a legendary step up from the impeccably named studio Bug Films.
It's a bug world out there.
For what is only their second full anime production, following the historic fumble that was Zom 100. But today I want to...
Zom 100 was so good, except for that, like, massive break in between episodes they had because they just could not animate at the level they wanted it to be.
Talk about one small theme that just keeps popping up: the attention shown to hands. Hands are the second most expressive feature in a person, ranked below eyes and just above kneecaps, of course. So close-ups of characters' hands to illustrate their emotions, like this one where Agat clenches hers in frustration when she assumes she won't be able to take the next exam anytime soon, and it inexplicably sounds like her skin is made of latex, are pretty common in animation and even sometimes in live action. But hands are especially instrumental to this story, so it makes sense for them to get even more special attention through storyboarding and animation, even beyond what's there in the original manga. So let's break it down and see what hands can tell us. Welcome to Slam Jam. This is a world where magic is done by drawing sigils, so a witch's hands and their skill with them is central to their identity. And of course, there are dozens of...
The wiki does actually have a pretty extensive breakdown of what has been explained in the series. Now, there's a lot of stuff that obviously just hasn't been explained because who even knows if the author has a full system even laid out.
Insert shots of spells being drawn, but they really take it to a different level in episodes 8, 9, and 10 in particular. At the end of episode 7, the magic cops show up to erase Coco's memory, and episode 8 starts with these few cuts animated by a relatively new key animator, Taichi Hattori, with storyboards by Hiroshi Seko, who also directed the episode. Aesthese's fingers spread across the entire frame, exerting their control over everything in this point of view shot, then protruding towards the camera and seeming to elongate unnaturally as they do. In the reverse shot, this hand serves several purposes. The fingers are splayed in front of the camera, separating the girls, confining them to these two little sections and partially obscuring their faces. They're reminiscent of prison bars, but they also separate the two into these distinct sections where they react in two completely different ways, Coco with fear and Agat with anger. And in the final cut of the trifecta, we take the perspective of the hand itself as it closes in on Coco, whose face is crammed into only a little over half the screen space that's left. This same scene plays out similarly in the manga, but it doesn't focus so much on these...
It is nice when the manga isn't just a storyboard for the anime. It is nice when the manga actually... Well, when the anime takes the manga and then actually uses anime as a medium to make it better. Then you have modern One Piece where it's like, hey guys, what if we just animated it as slowly? What if we do one chapter per episode? And that's not actually enough content. So let's extend stuff that was already really fucking long. And good luck. One chapter for 24 minutes. Have fun. Have fun.
Point of view shots. In the anime, the shot reverse shot gets more and more claustrophobic across these three cuts as Coco's impending doom and Aesthese's hand inch ever closer. We also then get an eye reflection shot, but that's a different video. I already made that one. You can watch it after this one. The theme is practically stated outright a few minutes later when he examines her hand to make sure she's not a terrorist and finds the ink stains and calluses to confirm that she is indeed just a novice apprentice. The anime takes it slightly further here too by hanging on this shot slightly longer until Kifri's hand enters the frame to shield Coco's and protect her from the Inquisition. Later, high contrast lighting from just above the horizon drags deep black shadows across a desolate gray alien landscape, a sharp juxtaposition with the soft yet vibrant rural backgrounds that fill most of the show. In this lighting, these rocks remind me of the dead astronauts in that one Chainsaw Man panel. Anyway, the mysterious
Sorry.
the dead astronaut.
What the fuck happens in Chainsaw Man? What the fuck is this shot? One thing I know about Chainsaw Man is the manga just ended with what was her name? Kabeni? Yeah, that one. With her contract never being explained. Literally never in the entire series is explained. People still don't know, and there's no part 3 that was announced.
It's in that one Chainsaw Man panel. Anyway, the mysterious brim cap waxes poetic about their hands stained with ink and use some sort of ceremonial dagger to drain blood from a well-worn channel in their palm where they've clearly done this many times before. These cuts are done by key animator Haoran Zhu, and it's interesting to me that the hands are on 2 different layers for a few frames here, so that the one holding the knife can be blurry, but they move staggered 1 frame off from each other until they come together. I wonder if that was just an accidental byproduct of the digital process.
That's our contract.
Intentionally to give the impression of more frames, or even to make it feel a little off-kilter. Hands have already been established as a representation of a person's essence, so the imagery of draining blood from an ink-stained palm becomes even more significant, like a perversion of the art. The following episode is a hands bonanza, starting simply with this close-up of Coco nervously doing Kevin O'Leary hands while she thinks about her future. Sorry, that was inappropriate. I shouldn't bring him into this. But the main event, and the scene that prompted me to make this video, was Kiefer's confrontation with the brimmed hat, animated primarily by... Is that Master Kiefer himself in his signature socks and sandals combo? No, look again. That's local tall white guy, perfect for dressing up in a cloak and putting in front of a camera, Håvard Dale. This scene actually follows the manga panels fairly closely. There's an entire mini-narrative here that plays out almost wordlessly through hands alone. I mean, this page has 4...
One thing I do appreciate is when a series is actually able to tell a story without just fucking narrating every single word of it. So many series like, you're a moron. Kidda would like to know your hands. I was waiting for the Kidda comment. There are so many series which are afraid of the viewer, of the reader just not knowing what's happening. And just... It's like over... What's the word? Fucking... over-narrating everything. It's like... I can see what's happening on the screen. You don't need to tell me what's happening constantly.
4 hand panels and only 1 face. After some quite cool effects and action animation, Dr. Eyeball suddenly appears to snatch the ink vial from Kiefer once he's sufficiently waterboarded. The harsh overhead lighting defines the angular shapes of their hand in this cut where they crush the vial. If we continue to think of the hand as a symbol for the person as a whole, this demonstrates both the immense strength to crush such a small, thick glass bottle and disregard for the well-being.
To be fair with Chimera Ant, you have like 12 different fucking angles you need to pay attention to. It kind of might be important for that one.
Of the hand itself as blood spurts out along with the glass shards. Now Kiefer reaches out to try to grab the mysterious figure before they vanish. The camera tracks his hand as it stretches close, even intermingling with the almost finger-like tassels at the bottom of the robe, and hangs there in anticipation for a tantalizing 10 frames, only for the tassels to dematerialize just as he tries to grab them, and having exhausted its last bit of energy, Kiefer's hand collapses to the ground, now animated on ones, and the camera stays locked on to this close-up. When it does hit the ground, his fist loosens, and I love the physics of how it bounces limply from the wrist and sends a wave up his arm towards the elbow off screen. After a brief pause in defeat, Kiefer starts to drag his hand back towards himself, and it gradually forms back into a fist.
See, like, I watched this series, like, this is well animated. I couldn't tell you why it's well animated. This is why I enjoy these animation videos. Because, like, I can tell you when something is good. I don't necessarily know why it's good, though.
and rotates toward the camera for the first time as he swears not to give up. Only then do we return to a wide shot. That was 15 entire seconds of one continuous close-up cut of a hand. That may not sound like a lot, but if you actually time out the cuts between similar shots in almost anything, you realize that it really is. Honestly, I think if you played out this scene without any spoken words whatsoever, it would work just as well, maybe better. Finally, we return to whatever this place is, and the brimmed cat tosses the weird sigil coins in a blood-stained hand and suddenly snatches them from the air with a violence that causes this smear frame. Also, unrelated, but I'm obsessed with the clouds in the background of this unfinished layout. One of the best things about the manga is Shirahama's line work and sometimes dotted hatching, which is dense but extremely neat and mimics the style of medieval European woodcut art, and our boy Hoavar nailed that style here, even in the puff of smoke when Mr. Eyeball vanishes. I get that they went with a more realistic style, and it'd be annoying to have to work with all these lines, but that doesn't change the fact that I'm furious that this didn't make it into the final product, and I kinda wish they had leaned a little more into that style. Okay, that scene's the most prominent example, but storyboard artist Akira Yamada continues to pay special attention to hands in anime original cuts as the episode goes on, like this mundane moment attention to hands.
I don't know why we didn't mention this. This is like insane detail on a hand for a shot that most people are just never going to pay attention to, right? Like you've got wrinkles in the hand, like you've got the folds of the hand actually being drawn. Something I don't think I've probably ever seen an anime actually do. This is probably the most realistic anime hand that has ever been drawn. Like, whoever drew this really, like, they really focused on, like, how does a hand actually, like, what does a real hand actually look like?
In anime original cuts as the episode goes on, like this mundane moment where Kifri plucks a medicinal herb to restore feeling to his hand.
That's like most
mundane moment where Kifri
most normal shots of a hand, right? Like, all of these details are flattened out because it's way too much extra work. And then you're like, righto!
In anime original cuts as the episode goes on, like this mundane moment where Kifri plucks a medicinal herb to restore feeling to his hand. This is that same animator from the start, by the way. His hands being a representation of him as a witch, the fact that one of them is still numb from the night before means he was more deeply affected by the secret confrontation than he wants to let on. This cut shows the methodical skill in Kifri's fingers with much greater detail than the source material, and a few moments later when he gets drone struck by Agat coming to tell him that Coco had collapsed, the two go tumbling down a grassy hill with extra emphasis on Kifri's hand digging into the earth and forming a channel through it to slow them down just before careening off a cliff. There are some cool little subtle smear frames in this cut and the one before it where the
guys, look at how badly animated the hand is. Oh my god, guys, look, it's so off model, guys. The hand is bad, it's so off model. I fucking hate when like, you know, thankfully nowadays people have come around to it, but you still kind of have people that think fights like the pain fight, right? You still have people that think that it looked bad. And you can be critical of it for some of the stuff it does, but people will be critical of it for like stupid bullshit, like, oh, it's off model, right? Like, that doesn't actually matter. All the things to hands can also be viewed as a big F you to
really just get a little wiggly to show the jitteriness rather than the speed of a big continuous motion. Like the arm collapsing to the floor earlier, the physics here are again super realistic and cool. He presses his hand into the hillside in this claw position, but after a couple frames it bounces back off. But he's still applying pressure from the arm, so the wrist presses back into the grass immediately before the fingers follow. He then reapplies force into the hooking motion in the upper part of the hand, trying to dig his fingers into the grass with even greater force. I love how you can see the tendons protruding more intensely as the cut goes on, even visible through his sleeve. People's hands in Witch Hat Atelier can show their strengths and skill, but they can also betray a character's worries and insecurities. In the following episode, at Coco's bedside, Kifri tells Tarta that sometimes our bodies and minds fail us. He's ostensibly talking about Coco, but in the anime, he looks down and clasps his hands in his lap, subtly tightening his grip as he says it, which adds an extra nuance to the interaction. He might be partly referring to Coco collapsing, but you can see that he's really talking about himself, and he seems to know know, or at least suspect, that there's more to it than just exhaustion. And finally, when Tarta is later trying to help Coco in Kiefer's absence...
One thing I don't understand with this guy, I don't understand the whole, oh, if you are not able to see color, you can't do magic thing. Because maybe something changes later on, but all of the dye we've seen is black. Literally all the dye we've seen is black. I don't understand why the whole the whole silver, what the fuck is it called? Silver, whatever it's the you can't see color vision. I don't understand why that even mattered. Maybe the manga goes into it later on. Maybe there was something that was skipped over, but it did not make any sense to me.
And finally, when Tarta is later trying to help Coco in Kiefer's absence despite his silver wash, aka complete color blindness, that prevents him from seeing the difference between unlabeled medicines, he puts his face in his hands, staring down at the 3 vials he's narrowed it down to, and we see his silver eye confined between his fingers, similarly to those shots I started the video with. He gives up for the moment and resigns himself to helping in a simpler way, trying to ease Coco's fever with a damp cloth, and we get this beautiful cut where he wrings out the cloth with the detailed contours of his hands again revealed by the moonlight from the window to the right of the frame. We see his frustration at his disability in this moment, crushing the cloth in his fist, but also his caring nature as a person. There's certainly plenty of beautiful, dazzling action animation in this show, but I think where it really shines is in the care given to subtler character moments and body language, and this very intentional focus on hands that the crew at Bug Films has picked up on traces of from the manga and magnified. There's so much you can learn from looking at a person's hands. Thank you for watching. I should have 1 or 2 more videos relating to this show on the way, so stay tuned for that. And thank you for subscribing, commenting, sharing, hyping.
Yeah, it's a thing.
Is a thing.
Yeah.
If you want. And a big thank you to everyone who generously...
Don't do this. Don't do this. Bad idea.
I'm told is a thing if you want. And a big thank you to...
My sister did actually cut open her hand doing this with an avocado. Don't do that. Just don't cut something like this. It's a fucking terrible idea. Like, yes, if you get good at it, you can certainly do it, but like, just don't.
Everyone who generously supports the channel on Patreon and whose hands are somehow as rugged as a coal miner's and as precise as a surgeon's. Smackintosh, Scorpiante, Dodo and Gogo, KDL.
That was a great video. That was another great video from Mr. Swamp John. John of the Swamp. I love this series. Fucking great series, by the way. If you've not seen it yet, do go and watch it. I think, was the season 2 already confirmed? Probably. If not, I'd be very surprised.